Hey, it's Evan Brand back here with another video on Nutrition 101. Now, if you've checked out the channel at all, you'll see there's a bunch of different complex topics on there ranging from copper toxicity to adrenal fatigue, some of the more in-depth things that I talk about with my clients one-on-one after we get the nutrition dialed in. So I know so many people are confused about nutrition because there's 5,000 self-proclaimed gurus out there saying, well, this is the way to eat for energy. This is the way to eat for fat loss. This is the way to eat for healthy hormones. In reality, there's not really that many differences that are going to make these different types of changes and effects in the body. There's so many dietary laws that are really inflexible when it comes to humans and what we actually need to fuel ourselves. So we're going to go through some of that stuff right now. So first thing, for me, solid food is always greater than shakes. Now, I don't even want to say the names of the companies out there that promote all of these shakes because that's just going to give them credit that they don't deserve. But there's so many people that always carry around a shaker bottle with them. And you'll see that most of the time they're overweight, they're inspired, they're trying to get a good plan going. So they're just drinking these shakes maybe 1, 2, 3 times a day. And they wonder why they're not getting results. Well, we could talk about some of the artificial sweeteners that are typically in some of these protein shakes and how that can cause issues to the insulin and different hormones that are regulating your body. If it's fake sugar, generally the body's still going to recognize that as sugar. So for me, solid food's always going to win. So a good breakfast is just some good eggs. Might be kind of small. I was saving room just in case I have other breakfast ideas for you. But, you know, eggs and sausage. If you can go to your farmer's market and get some good quality pasture-raised organic eggs where the chickens roamed around and had a great life, that's going to be a great choice. Sausage, same thing. You definitely want to stay away from any of the conventional sausages that you'll find at the grocery store just because a lot of those have MSG in it, monosodium glutamate. Now that's a neurotoxin that gives you this little bit of high. It's a food flavoring that's used across the world and it makes you feel really good when you eat it, kind of like that Chinese food syndrome where you eat Chinese food and you feel hungry and crappy an hour after. That's mostly because MSG is in there. So you definitely want to stay away from mainstream sausages and go for some type of like farmer's market sausage where you actually know that the animal was raised in a healthy and humane way, had good non-genetically modified food, things like that. So solid food over shakes. This is going to help your blood sugar be a little bit more stable. It's good to have some real logs on the fire in that GI system and help that metabolism out. If you're just going to throw a shake in there, you may just feel kind of unfulfilled and like you didn't really get much nutrition from it. Our bodies are designed to start the digestive process when you start chewing things. So if you are going to go for a shake, then I suggest trying to leave it just a little bit chunky. Say if you're throwing in some frozen blueberries, that you could leave it just a little bit chunky, and that way you're having to actually chew those blueberries as you're eating that shake, which is going to help tell the brain down to the stomach, hey, we need some stomach acid, we have a meal coming, you need to start digesting this. If you just throw a shake down real quick, the body's had no signal or time for preparation to digest. So it's kind of like in the Titanic when the boat's already sinking and then the guys are getting the message down below, hey, you know, you got to close all the hatches, you know, we got to try to put this engine on reverse. And it was too late. They had already hit the iceberg. I love Titanic. I don't know if that analogy works perfect for this, but I tried. All right, number 2, quality over quantity. So a lot of people, especially in the bodybuilding world, men and women think, yes, I'm going to eat this huge ribeye steak and this huge thing of potatoes and this huge thing of green beans, but they're not eating organic. And there's so many different Instagram accounts and social medias that I've even personally come across, and I'm sure you have too, where you see these giant 6-pack ripped men and women, but then they post some of their nutrition and they're eating like canned chicken breast and a certain type of food bar company that I won't mention because they use sucralose and a lot of other fake sweeteners in their products. It's like, that's not healthy. So they're promoting this to tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people in some cases, and it's further elevating these brands and convincing people that these are good choices, and they're not. So we always want to go for quality over quantity. Typically you want to go for about a palm-sized portion of meat with each of your meals 3 times a day. So if you wake up and you get some eggs and sausage, or you could even do like leftover steak, like steak and eggs if you had steak the night before. Palm-sized portion is going to be plenty to help fuel you up, and you want that to be good quality, so you're organic, grass-fed whenever possible. Now I just wrote here, EWG Dirty Dozen. Now the Environmental Working Group, they're one of the organizations I most respect for the work that they do investigating pesticides and chemicals that are in our food. And they have a list that they put out every year called the Dirty Dozen. They have another list called the Clean 15 that you should definitely refer to. I guess I'll go ahead and write that for you too. I'm just going to look at Clean 15. So Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen. Now the Dirty Dozen are the foods that contain the most pesticides. So things like bell peppers, things like onions, sweet potato. A lot of these foods can contain up to 13 different pesticides and chemicals just in one bite of food. So if you're going and you're getting some pepper steak with onions at some type of restaurant, and you're eating these peppers and onions that you know are conventional, because if they were organic they would advertise it and charge more, you can assume that you're getting these chemicals in. That's going to increase the burden on your liver. That's going to cause other widespread issues that we could save for another video. So you definitely want to go for organic. It's not that it's some type of like special superhuman food and, ooh, you eat organic, you know. It sucks when people act like that towards you, because in reality you're just asking for something simple. You want chemical-free food. I don't see why it has to be such a big deal like, ooh, this guy eats all organic. You should. That's all that existed just 50, 60, 70 years ago in certain places. In today's world and Europe, I've talked to some clients that I have over there, Norway, things like that, all the beef is organic, grass-fed. There is no such thing as the conventional corn-fed beef that we have in America, for example. So seek out those places. All right, moving on. Fats are greater than protein, are greater than carbs. So fats do not cause an insulin spike. So basically, your pancreas secretes insulin anytime you eat a carbohydrate or sugar. So your blood sugar, you have this kind of little small roller coaster going throughout the day. As you eat a carbohydrate, that pancreas is going to release insulin. It's going to drive the blood sugar up. Now, when you have high blood sugar and you have high insulin, you're not able to burn fat. So let me make a little note off here. High insulin equals can't burn fat. So if you're snacking all day, you have pretzels or other types of little just dead food snacks like that, because you're not getting enough fat and protein at your mealtime. So say you eat at like 7 or 8 a.m., but you're starving by 10, so you eat a little snack to get you through until lunch. That's a sign that you're not properly regulating your metabolism by getting enough fat and proteins in. So fat and proteins, these two do not require an insulin response. Protein could in excess. It could sort of require a little bit of insulin to help break some of that stuff down into the different amino acids and cause an insulin there. But generally speaking, compared to carbohydrates, you're not going to get that straight up insulin spike like you do if you just ate like a donut or something like that. So fat and proteins are always preferred. I'm not saying you just need to eat just this huge turkey leg with every meal or something like that. You definitely want to have a balance of some non-starchy vegetables. So a good meal is going to be something just like, you know, so palm-sized portion. So I just wrote here palm-sized portion of meat plus 2 palm-sized portions of veggies. So whether that's broccoli, whether that's some leafy green vegetables, kale, spinach, things like that, always want to steam those whenever possible. Raw veggies just don't really work for me personally, just because of my digestive history, and that's kind of what got me into this whole thing, is figuring out why that stuff wouldn't work. So steaming them and kind of pre-digesting those plant fibers and those cellulose, those plant walls there, it's going to be really helpful to digest some of these raw veggies. So say a palm-sized portion of meat, 2 palm-sized portions of veggies, throw some butter, throw some salt on those bad boys. You're going to be getting all of these different trace minerals and magnesium and sulfur and things like that that are going to help produce your neurotransmitters, make you feel happy. So Veggies make you happy. Eat some veggies. All right, water's the key to life. Now, you know this already. You can't survive very long at all without water, but I put this on here because I can't tell you how many clients that are in this sort of paleo health space, if you will, and they're still drinking all sorts of things that are diuretics. So your green teas, even if it's organic, all of your different types of teas, your unsweetened teas. I've even seen some organic energy drinks out there, which just sounds kind of weird. So there's a lot of companies that are trying to sneak themselves in and disguise themselves as a healthy company, but in reality, it's probably not the best choice. So water is obviously the #1 drink of choice for me. So you want to do spring water. So I put spring water plus lemon plus lime. You can do one or the other if you'd like, but I really like to see people get a little bit of lemon juice or lime juice, not those little weird plastic things you see at the store. The real deal, the actual fruit, cut it up, squeeze it into the water, and drink that in about 4 to 6 ounces of water before your meals. That's really going to help support digestive system and tell the stomach, hey, wake up. We're going to start increasing the HCl levels, the hydrochloric acid levels, so we can break this steak down into different amino acids that are going to rebuild tissues, support neurotransmitter function, things like that. So that's why I'm adding in the lemon and lime here. Now lastly, something is better than nothing. Now, I've been traveling across the country, and sometimes it's hard to find the most optimal food choice. And you're like, oh God, I know this is a garbage quality restaurant, but this is the only restaurant for 60 miles, and you're starving, you haven't eaten at all. Look, at a certain point, you can't stress yourself out over nutritional choices. Now, 80 to 90% of the time, I prefer you pay attention to all of this stuff. That's really going to help you to lose weight. That's going to help you build energy, get better sleep, build up some muscle for your fitness routine. Whatever your goal is, that's really going to help you. But occasionally you have to understand that something is better than nothing. And if you become sort of orthorexic, or you become sort of OCD about your food choices, which, trust me, it's easy to do because you want quality. I understand, I respect you for that. At a certain point, you may just have to let it go and just have to eat something that's not optimal every once in a while. Maybe it's once a month, maybe it's once every 3 months, maybe it's once every 6 months. But if you're out in the middle of nowhere, or you're in some new city and you can't go on your phone and look up the Yelp app and type in like organic and try to find some good little shop that's a hidden gem, if you're not able to do that first of all. But if you can't do that and you have to just go eat something that's not optimal, just let it go. If you can, take some extra digestive enzymes with you. Let me write this out here for you. I know this is small, so that's why I'm reading it to you. So digestive enzymes, you definitely want to take some HCl, some hydrochloric acid. If you can have these two together, maybe even some emulsified oregano oil, that's really going to help to knock out anything that you may come across in your food, especially if you're traveling overseas. All of my clients that are going to be traveling out of the country, I always recommend them take a combination of a good quality digestive enzyme and some hydrochloric acid, and that's taken with the meal at the meal time. So preferably, say this is the stomach here. You eat a little bit of food here, you take the capsule, and then you eat a little bit of food. So you're able to sandwich the capsule in between bites of food there. That way, in case you have any crazy inflammation here in the gut lining, that capsule is not just going to go straight on that gut lining and cause a burning sensation, because then you're going to be like, gosh, why is he recommending me that? It's killing me. Well, obviously you need to address that inflammation and get to the root cause of that, but to prevent that in the meantime, you can just eat a couple bites, take the capsule, eat a couple bites. And that's going to really help to break down the food if there's any type of bacteria that's in there because the food was improperly cooked, or it didn't reach a high enough temperature to kill off bacteria, or it was bad seafood. I've seen that many, many times. The last thing you want is something that's going to travel down south into the GI system and give you some other gut bugs, parasites, potential pathogens that you may come across. So something is better than nothing. Just have your ammo on hand that you're going to do and throw in to make sure that that meal is not going to cause you further issues outside of that little time window. So this is Nutrition 101, maybe a little bit different than you thought, but these are some of the dietary laws. Now, we may do another video like a Nutrition 201 and geek out on some of the different macronutrients and different portions of fruits and your best options for things like that. But this is to get you started, get you thinking, and then look for the Nutrition 201 here to come in the next week or two. All right, this is Evan Brand. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. There's tons of videos coming. I know a lot of you all are coming from the Not Just Paleo podcast. Thank you for that. If you have no clue about the podcast, then check that out. But if you're coming from the podcast, I want to cross-pollinate everybody here. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to talk further about this with me, you have some health symptoms that you've been dealing with, you're ready to get to the root cause of them, click below, schedule a free consult with me, and you and I will spend 15 minutes at no charge on the phone or Skype for international clients, and we'll talk about it and see how I can help you. This is Evan Brand signing out. Take care. Bye.